How's it going, everybody? This Seer here, your 5C Envoy champion from the Cosmic Crucible tournament, and I have a very special video for you guys. The Accursed team is the newest team that arrived to Marvel Strike Force, and they were pivotal in me securing victory during that tournament, so I wanted to go all out for you guys. So I made these beautiful infographics that you're going to be able to find on my Discord channel. Now, the link of that's going to be in the description and the comments section below, so feel free to join in there, download these infographics, and use them however you see fit. The infographic is going to be each individual character. There's going to be a team infographic as well as a strength and weaknesses. That way you can try to maximize your value in this Accursed team. With that being said, let's go ahead and start by talking about Moro. Moro actually received a pretty decent rework. He provides a lot of support for the team and throwing out those negative effects, getting the stun, the blinds, the bleeds out there, really helping the team to kind of perform and kind of get moving. Now, as you start getting kills or your allies start getting kills, he's going to be doing a passive healing to the team, keeping them in the fight longer as well. If any mystic characters, which is very important how they worded that, because mystic characters implies and actually works as your allies get killed off as well, he's going to be getting ability energy, making it to where he gets more of the stuns, the blinds, the bleeds, all those negative effects out on the other side of the field so much more often. As far as the ISO attack goes, I really like him as a striker, because with the striker, he's going to be getting more of the defense down, offense down, and slows out there. If you are running into issues of landing those stuns, the blinds, anything like that, you can definitely keep him as that skirmisher just to get that extra focus boost. Or if you end up running into certain characters that have a very high resistance, then you can definitely switch him over to that skirmisher. Now, the next character we're going to be talking about is going to be Juggernaut. Juggernaut received a very good rework. I'm actually very happy with how he's performing. He is a little sleeper pick because people see that 100 speed and they're kind of sleeping on him because of that. However, he does get turn meter anytime you hit into Hellverine, and that's going to ramp him up to get more of his abilities off and kind of set the tone. Another rework he did end up getting is making it to where he's a pre-taunt. If he has 3 or more Accursed allies, he's going to be spawning in with a taunt, and his special is now going to be healing all Accursed allies by 20% of his max health as well. And you can see he's the 6th highest health character in the game, so that heal is going to be very impactful to keep the team alive and moving. His damage stat is 14th right now as well, so he has a very high damage stat, which is why I really like him as a raider. Getting that raider attack for the ultimate ability just decimates and is a devastating move if he ends up getting that pulled off. The ultimate is 380% damage, 100% drain, so he's going to be healing off of it, and depending on how many charges he has, he gets an extra 80% damage per charge on there as well. So you can kind of see that ultimate ability is just a game wrecker if he ends up getting that pulled off. It's pretty spectacular to see that end up happening in the matches. Now, the next character we're going to be looking at is going to be Hellverine. Hellverine is a new character in the comics, so I'm actually very excited they brought him to Marvel Strike Force. Hellverine, if you're unaware, the Spirit of Vengeance end up possessing Wolverine, then that transitioned over to his son, Daken. So this is the Daken version, and he's only had the Spirit of Vengeance for about 6 months, so it's really cool that we got that fresh of a character in this game. Now, he is a very high damage stat at 5th in the game right now, so to me, he's like that Gore and Daken type of character, where at lower stars he won't be performing as well, but he's going to ramp up incredibly well to when you start getting that 7 stars on him and getting those diamonds on him in the future, he's going to be wrecking opponents with that ultimate ability. The ultimate is that 300% piercing, and if there's an exposed out there, he's going to be flipping all positive effects into negative effects. So I really like him as that raider aspect, getting those crits out there and that high number of attacks out there. As far as his special does a chain attack as well, so that's another reason for the raider, just peppering the enemy team with his vulnerables, so that way Satana can take advantage of that if you end up going with the striker on her, or even the Hood, who has a very good ISO attack as well when we get into that one. Now, as far as his passive ability, I know people are kind of confused as far as how the passive works. If the opponent has exposed out there and you bring another character with exposed out there, such as Mephisto or Quasar, Kahori, something like that, then he's going to clear the exposed mechanics. He's going to end up healing off of that. Then when he goes back to his turn, he's going to be applying another exposed mechanic out there. So having more than one exposed isn't actually a bad thing necessarily, because he is going to heal off of that. Then he's going to end up applying the exposed back out there on his turn anyway. So that's a very interesting mechanic on how they're dealing with exposed for this character. I actually like it a lot for how that's working. Now let's go ahead and talk about the Hood. The Hood is the upcoming character coming to the game, and he is very impactful for what he's going to be doing to the team. As you can see, he's kind of that standing passive earlier on in the game, but as you get more stars and more built up of your Hood, then he's going to be actually more impactful, because he is a 7th highest damage dealer in the game right now, but the passive is kind of where his bread and butter is. So let's go ahead and start breaking down his passive. In Cosmic Crucible, enemies can only gain bonus damage and focus through positive effects, which is very impactful. Your enemies can only gain bonus resistance and speed through positive effects as well. So basically that's stopping it, like a Odin, where if he gets charged, he gets a faster speed, or another fast character that can kind of get speed would be, it's more Odin, honestly. It's kind of an anti-Odin mechanic for there. In Crucible, if this character has 3 or more cursed allies, enemies can not gain speed up, charge, or offense up. The offense up was actually added in later, as that was a touch up that they ended up doing to this team, which is really going to help them out on the defensive side of things if you're leaning towards that aspect of it. Your enemies cannot gain taunt. That's a strength and a weakness, honestly. Preventing taunt is very important, but narrowing that down as a hero only, we're going to be talking about that later, because that's going to open it up to where you can maybe use like a gladiator to kind of get a taunt for your side of the field, or a Juggernaut zombie type of character. Enemies cannot gain assist, which is all enemies. Enemies cannot fill speed bar for themselves or allies. And the newest rework as well, the speed of this character and each ally can only be reduced by slow. So that's another very big thing that they end up throwing on here, making it to where the old school Emma Frost isn't able to do a hard counter into this team where you're going to lower the speed and just get ahead of them. So that's why they end up doing that type of touch up. Now, as far as the special ability that he has, this is going to be putting an ability block out there. If the ability block doesn't land, then it's going to end up doing bonus damage, which is pretty interesting. The ISO attack, I do like him as a raider, but as I mentioned during the Hellverine portion, the striker could be a very interesting one as well, because this ISO attack is at 225% piercing damage, which is a massive amount of damage. And if you pair that with, say, his basic, in total, it's 525% piercing damage, which is just going to mouth through your opponents. And because of how many shots it is, that's going to help get through any form of deflect or evades that the opponent could end up having. So really interesting character. Staining passive early on, he's going to turn into a massive damage dealer as he scales up there as well. Now we're going to end up taking a look at Satana. Now Satana is kind of the queen or the anchor of this entire team for what she provides. The passive ability for her is amazing, to where this character and all Accursed allies cannot gain slow, ability block, defense down, and trauma. And this character and all Accursed allies cannot have their speed bar reduced, meaning you can't do any form of turn meter rewind to this team. So you can really see how impactful she is. Now, as far as her abilities goes, the ultimate's what she's going to be starting with, which is going to end up being about 66% damage to the opponent. It does 6 hits of 11% damage each, which is a massive amount of damage. And the fact that all of her abilities do not trigger any passive effects, which means that's going to be punching through characters like a Dr. Doom for his passive. A Thanos Endgame is the one that more people are looking at to get around the passive for Thanos kind of throwing those planets in your face. As far as the special goes, this is going to be a big AoE hit, and then her basic attack does the 10% health steal as well. So very impactful abilities for what she has. I think she's going to be more of the standalone tune that's going to end up coming from this entire team, because it kind of has that Minerva effect. We're just going to be healing characters up, punching through passive effects and everything, kind of like the old school Phoenix and Minerva type abilities that we used to have. Now, I am torn as far as what ISOs to use for her. I'm still bouncing that back and forth. It's very difficult to land on one for her, in my opinion. She has that 125 speed, so she's going to be going first. But the ISO attack that she has where it's going to be doing 7% damage and kind of doing a heal for the team and reducing the negative effects by 1 as well. I really like her as that striker. However, I can see a world where Raider is going to be the primary option. I think it's going to be depending on what matchup you go into, because if you can hold off on using a striker ability for her until turn 2 and on, then striker is definitely going to be the way to go. If you need to kind of set the tone of the match, then I think Raider is going to end up being the go-to for this type of character. Now we have the team infographic on here, and basically on this infographic is going to be a team positioning left to right. I like Juggernaut being on the one bookend and Satana being on the other bookend. Hellverine, I think, is going to be depending on the matchup, honestly, of putting Hellverine adjacent to Juggernaut. That way Hellverine gets hit and starts speeding up Juggernaut to kind of get him moving. If you're punching into something that's going to be way too strong, then you may want to end up swapping Hellverine and Moro, or drop Moro for, say, a Quasar type of character on here. So this is what this infographic is, but now is going to be the fun one. This one here is going to be the strengths of the team. So what strengths do we actually have for this team? They have room for theory crafting. You only need at least 4 members to unlock the full kits of the team. But like I mentioned before, that's going to cause issues to where if one member of the cursed team falls off, then the team kind of falls apart. So what are good options for the theory crafted? I think Quasar is a fantastic option. He gives immunity on spawn, meaning that safeguard's going to be applying to the entire cursed team. Another good option could end up being a Mephisto, depending on what you need to punch into as well. Or you can end up throwing a Kahori in here. I think that could be a fantastic option. She is that mystic character that really leans into the mystic portion of this team. So really cool options they could end up throwing with this type of team. For the support mechanics, Juggernaut has that pre-taunt now, along with a reflexive taunt. He has immunity causing safeguard. And we don't want to forget about that special now applying a 20% heal to the entire Accursed team. Now Satana, she has anti-control mechanics. Before Satana takes a turn, this team cannot gain slow, ability block, defense down, or trauma. So a wide range of negative effects cannot be applied to this team before she ends up taking a turn. Also, enemies cannot gain barrier or regeneration. I think that's kind of a sneaky thing to really get into this team. Now the Hood has a lot of anti-control mechanics. Hero enemies can only gain bonus resistance and speed through positive effects. Enemies cannot gain speed up, charged, or offense up. Hero enemies cannot gain taunt. Enemies cannot gain assist, and enemies cannot fill their speed bar, and allies can only have their speed reduced by slow. So very impactful character for the Hood. He's that standing passive, like I mentioned. Hellverine has anti-control mechanics on him as well. Enemies cannot gain defense up and death proof. And for what Moro provides, if you end up keeping him on the team, which I do recommend building him to a playable level so that we can use him with a team or for any of the future events that we may end up needing. So I don't say ignore him, definitely put some investment into him. So Moro inflicts negative effects to the enemy along with stun and blind. He's able to do a turn meter rewind for the ultimate. He provides healing on death of any character and generates ability energy or self on death of any mystic character. Sorry, that was a lot to get over for that one. Now, as far as weaknesses, so the glaring weakness that this team has is they are 125 speed. That means that you're able to get ahead of them with several different characters that we have in this game, and you are able to get a stun out on the other side of the field. So the way you'd want to end up punching into this team is you need somebody to try to get off the taunt of Juggernaut, and then you want to try to get stuns out on the other side of the field for characters that's faster than 125. That's going to be the glaring weakness of how you want to try to basically beat this team if you find it in Cosmic Crucible. Now, Juggernaut, he relies on having immunity in order to apply safeguard to his allies. As I mentioned, he could end up throwing Quasar into the mix. That's going to get the immunity and safeguard out to the cursed allies. But then that leaves it open to where you just need to kill one accursed ally, and that's going to make it to where the team starts to fall apart because their kits rely on having 3 or more accursed allies. Now, there is a lack of immunity on spawn, which means you're able to apply stun to the team for high control that we end up talking about. Now, the team is strong against hero characters, but that leaves them susceptible to villain characters. Hero enemies can only gain bonus to their resistance and speed through positive effects, and hero enemies cannot gain taunt. That means villain characters are able to do this, or if you end up having characters like Kingpin, who's able to spawn in a minion that has taunt on spawn, you're able to get around that as well. So down here, it's going to be more of an infographic where if you end up seeing this team with a Mephisto, you can try to throw in a Kingpin, so that way the Kingpin takes that opening hit to really protect your team, or throw a villain character in there that has a pre-taunt. Now there is going to be power couples as well, such as Null and Gore, because they're villains, so they're not able to get their speed reduced or not changed at all from Satana's portion of the kit. Now there's going to be anti-speed mechanics that you want to lean into for Captain Britain. That's going to stop Juggernaut from getting the turn meter as you're punching into that Hellverine type of character. And during the tournament, everybody was using Professor Xavier on offense, and he was really able to help get that one shot into the Accursed team. I don't think that's honestly needed after all the playtests we were able to do for this, but he is going to be that overkill or precaution character to really beat this team if you find it on the defensive side. Now for high speed and control character, we have Quasar, who's that 129 speed, a lot of negative effects on his special, massive damage on the special as well. Black Cat's that 132 speed, she's able to get a stun out there. Songbird's 132 speed, she's able to do a flip, so that way if they don't have that safeguard immunity, you're able to ult turn one with Songbird, get off the taunt, and try to get some form of stuns out on the other side of the field. Silver Sable, she does massive damage, so does Hitmonkey, who are above that 125 speed mark, to where you get a stun into Satana, then you could try to get Hitmonkey to really get moving as well. And then I have two members of the Immortal X-Men. This doesn't mean use the Immortal X-Men. The Immortal X-Men will get rolled over. However, these two characters are over 125 speed. So if you can get Storm out there to get a stun out on the other side of the field, and then Jean Grey's able to extend that stun with her special, and then when she gets to turn 2, she's able to do even more control effects. So these are certain characters I think you could lean into trying to beat this team if you find it on the defense. Now, what does this mean as far as, do you want to use this team on offense or defense? I think offense is going to be the best way to go. We have a lot of strong characters that we can end up putting on defense side of things now. And if we can have this Accursed team be that heat-seeking missile to just take out that one team that you need to take out in Cosmic Crucible, that's a huge win for me. So I really like this team as far as the offensive side of things. I think later on, depending on certain rune rules, we may be able to use this team on the defensive side of things to really lean into that. So rune rules is going to be a big key in how we want to use this team. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you do like these infographics, you can find them on my Discord channel. Again, that's going to be in the description and the comment section below. And let me know what other teams you want me to end up doing for this type of infographic. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do like the Vigilante team for sure. I might end up doing the Thunderbolts, but let me know what teams you guys want to see for this type of video. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.